Good afternoon. I'm Alan Unell, and this series of videos is Healthcare Advocacy, where we address problems in the healthcare system, then take actions to make a better system for all of us. We have a number of topics today, including repurposing a cancer drug and leukemia results, some results that are not so nice. Anyway, but before we get started, down below in the YouTube description box, you'll find a link to the Healthcare Advocacy newsletter, which is the text for today's video. You can go to that link or URL and subscribe for free, and you'll find all of the links to the medical journals I mentioned, all of the links to the studies and newsletters. There's a lot of references there for medical issues at the bottom of the newsletter. Of course, subscribe for free and have it delivered to your inbox almost every day. Okay, let's get started. Cancer drug repurposed. This is big news. A drug that is approved for treating the blood cancer multiple myeloma may offer a safe and effective way to reduce the risk of severe nosebleeds from a rare but devastating bleeding disorder. It's hereditary hemorrhagic telangiectasia. I hope I said that right, HHT. The world's second most common inherited bleeding disorder. It affects approximately 1 in 5,000 people, and it can have life-threatening complications, but there are currently no U.S. FDA-approved drugs to treat it. There was a study called the PATH-HHT study, first ever randomized placebo-controlled U.S. clinical trial, evaluated the oral drug pomalidomide, I think I said that right, currently approved to treat multiple myeloma. They tried to treat the bleeding and disease manifestations in HHT with it. The trial enrolled 50 patients at Massachusetts General, and they found that the drug resulted in significant clinically relevant reductions in the severity of the nosebleeds and improved quality of life. Now, the results of the study were published just this week in the New England Journal of Medicine, and of course there's a link to it. The study was actually halted because of the outstanding success. When that happens, that means this is working so great, we don't need to go further. Everybody who needs the drug gets the drug. So that's really big news. Let's talk about some advances in treating leukemia. This is important to me. I lost my favorite cousin to leukemia a million years ago, so I'd like to hear that there are advances. According to researchers at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center, 80% of patients with previously untreated or relapsed refractory advanced phase chronic myeloid leukemia, that's CML, including both accelerated or myeloid blast of the disease, or Philadelphia chromosome positive acute leukemia, that's AML, achieved a bone marrow remission when treated with a novel combination, I hope I say these right, of decitabine, venetoclax, and ponatinib. The findings from the phase 2 clinical trial were published today in the Lancet Journal Hematology. This is September 19th, 2024. They represent an important step forward for patients with advanced phase CML who tend to have very poor outcomes. Now, limited data on a standard care approach to treating the disease highlights the need for investigations into additional therapeutics. Let me give you the details of the study. There were 20 patients enrolled in the trial. 14 had myeloid blast phase CML, 4 had accelerated phase CML, and 2 had Philadelphia chromosome positive AML. Overall, 50% of the patients achieved complete remission or complete remission with an incomplete hematological recovery, and an additional 30% achieved morphologic leukemia-free state. That's just such big news. Responses were seen even in patients who had received multiple prior therapies and in those with high-risk cytogenic or molecular features. There's a link to the University of Texas news release for this. That's a big deal, just a big deal. I want to talk to you about legislative three-card Monte. I used to do magic tricks growing up. Three-card Monte is one of the favorites. Three-card Monte is a misdirection card trick, and it's used to take money from unsuspecting people who are watching. I put a link in the newsletter to a Wikipedia reference. If you go to YouTube and say 3-Card Monte, I'm sure you can watch people playing it on the streets. It's a losing proposition. Anyway, but a great magic trick, but it is misdirection. And that's why I bring it out. I want to point out 2 bills in the House of Representatives that came up this week for editing. And that's what they are. They are just misdirection. They are H.R. 3227, ensuring seniors access to quality care. These were all put forward by Republicans. This is Estes and Connolly. And the next one, before I go on, 3227 actually allows nursing homes that have been cited for egregious violations like medical record falsification or failing to report resident abuse. It allows them to continue to operate their own nurse aid training programs because they're so good at taking care of patients. The next one, H.R. 9067, another Shanda, you can ask me what that is later, is called Building America's Healthcare Workforce. Doesn't that sound good? Another Republican piece of trash, Representative Guthrie put that forward. H.O. 9067 establishes a waiver for certain training and certification requirements for specified skilled nursing facilities and skilled nursing facilities. So it's both for skilled nursing facilities and regular nursing facilities. It allows any hours worked by trainees to count towards their certification, whether they're applicable or not. So it gets people certified, but not necessarily showing that they actually did the hours of work that are needed in that job. Here's an extra credit action. On ResistBot, you can just take your cell phone and send a text message to 50409, sign PUELIC, sign PUELIC to 50409. If you want, I have a link. You can call your member of Congress and tell them what garbage this is, or send this email. I'm your constituent, and I want to make sure that you know that there are 2 bills in Congress that purport to help patients but will do just the opposite. They are H.R. 3227, ensuring seniors access to quality care, and H.R. 9067, building America's healthcare workforce. The first allows substandard, dangerous facilities to continue to train and certify staff, even when they've been found to put patients in danger. The second allows required certification training hours to include unrelated time at work. This does not make sure that nurse aides or others actually have the skills needed to take care of patients. All it does is give them a piece of paper and devalue the piece of paper. Sorry, I went off script there. The lives of those patients depend on staff being knowledgeable and capable, as demonstrated by certification. Cheating the certification process just puts patients at risk, and you can bet it's for the financial benefit of those institutions. Okay, look, I want you to vote no on H.R. 3227 and H.R. 9067 and demonstrate that you'd like to put patients first. Thank you. Let's talk about abortion bans. That's been in the news a lot this week. I'm going to go off script and tell you that it's mainly because Republican hacks have been claiming nobody's been hurt by abortion bans. Prove it, okay? Sit tight. Georgia's Maternal Mortality Committee, they're one of the few states that has such a thing, concluded that the deaths of 2 women who didn't receive adequate care for complications of medication abortion were preventable, according to ProPublica investigations. Here are their names: Amber Thurman, age 28, and Candy Miller, age 41. They both died in 2022, not long after the state's abortion ban went into effect. The committee found that Thurman did not receive necessary medical care after she didn't expel all of the fetal tissue from her body during a medication abortion. Staff at the Piedmont Henry Hospital in Stockbridge, Georgia, treated Thurman's sepsis, but they waited to perform a dilation and curettage, I hope I said that right, a D&C, to actually remove the tissue. for nearly 20 hours. And by then, her condition had so declined and it was so severe, surgeons determined they have to remove her bowel and do a hysterectomy instead. Guess what? She didn't survive the operation because those guys waited so long because they're scared to go to jail because of this ban. Let me go off script and tell you, it's because it's 10 years in prison. 10 years in prison for any medical personnel that assists in an abortion. So they're scared to do it. Miller took her abortion into her own hands because of the ban, buying the abortion pills online. She too did not expel all of her fetal tissue and thus needed a D&C, but she didn't seek treatment because she was concerned about the ban, her family said. So she just died. Hospitals do not have clear direction on when the patient's life is in enough danger for them to act. Lawyers who work for the hospital cannot provide guidance. This isn't like an ethics issue. They can't provide guidance to the doctors because the law makes this a criminal matter. There's no science behind when to act anymore. It's just a collection of vague language in law with a 10-year incarceration penalty. And of course, they lose their medical licenses for any medical professional who participates. P.S. If you think having a ban on abortion with exceptions for rape and incest is okay, change your mind, because you need a police report and often you have to get permission in court. And good luck if you're a minor trying to do that or if you're already bleeding. Let's take an action, because this can't stand. Let's let our elected representatives know it is time to pass the Women's Health Protection Act, which restores Roe v. Wade and starts saving women's lives instead of letting them die. You can contact your member of Congress and senators. I'll put a link in the YouTube description box, and call them and give them hell. Or pick up your cell phone and send a text message to 50409 using ResistBot. Here's the message: sign, S-I-G-N, space, P-E-X-C-A-V. Sign, P-E-X-C-A-V. Here's the message. I'm your constituent, and I want you to know that Amber Thurman, 28, and Candy Miller, 41, both died in 2022, not long after Georgia abortion bans went into effect. They needed a D&C to save their lives, and doctors told them to pound sand because they were afraid to go to jail. A D&C is a medical procedure to clean up after a miscarriage. It's similar to an abortion, but not the same. Okay, now you've got the names of dead women that the abortion bans killed. When will you say enough? I want you to get in front of microphones and cameras and denounce the laws that caused their deaths. Then I want you to do everything in your power to get the Women's Health Protection Act to a vote. I don't care what you do to get it to a vote, and restore a woman's bodily autonomy. I'm going to remember your actions and your words when elections roll around. I promise. I want you to take a public stand now for the Women's Health Protection Act and restore women's bodily autonomy. And again, if I don't see something or hear something from you, I'm going to vote accordingly. Okay, that's what I've got for you today. Down below, you can like, share, subscribe. You can send me comments here on YouTube or at healthcareadvocacy1@gmail.com. This is the time to take action on both of these issues. Okay. Have a good evening. I'll talk to you tomorrow.